Delta came and went, and with it so did FOXHUNT, and multiplayer game mode that basically died the same week it was released. It was pretty much dead on arrival. It's not literally dead in the sense that you can no longer play it, it's dead in the sense that finding matches for it is basically impossible, unless you coordinate with a group of players or people on Discord or some other platform. I literally booted into this game, looked for a match for almost 30 minutes. I went downstairs to take out my bins, came back, and the game still hasn't found a match. So why is this the case? What actually happened with this game? What led to this being so dead? Why did it fail and ultimately end up in this kind of chassis, I guess? Well, join me as I try and delve into this and explain what happened. So what was FOXHUNT for the uninitiated? FOXHUNT was the online multiplayer mode added to Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. It was launched on October 30th, 2025 after the main game. It was a free online mode for PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Konami described as a tactical hide-and-seek multiplayer built around stealth camo and whatever else, scavenging for weapons, all that nonsense. It was not Metal Gear Online 4, and it wasn't like a straight-up revival of the old MGS3 subsistence multiplayer, known as MGO, 1, I guess. It was more like a smaller scale experimental PvP mode where players are Fox unit candidates fighting other operatives in the jungle. The basic idea was you dropped into MGS3 style jungle arenas, which were just the maps from the base game, kind of with stuff and props moved around. You hide and sneak, you loot weapons, you use camo, track enemies, and you try and survive and do the objective. It had up to 12 players in 2 main modes. Survival capture, where players searched for and secured hidden Korotan frogs. As the match went on, fewer frogs remained, forcing players into clashes essentially. Survive intrude, players had to survive and operate within designated zones. Over time, the zones shrank, so positioning, stealth, and timing kind of mattered more. And the 2 main gimmicks for this mode were the AT camo. AT camo, a suit that let you instantly change camouflage to match the terrain, which functioned kind of like the Octo camo in Metal Gear Solid 4. And Naked Sense, an ability used to detect enemies and items. So in very simple terms, it was Konami's attempt to turn the core fantasy of Snake Eater into multiplayer instead of giving us a team deathmatch with Metal Gear skins. It actually kind of tried to do something unique, and on paper it sounded great. So let's get into the reasons why I feel this failed and where things started to go wrong. First reason is no crossplay and region matchmaking. If you ever try to play any sort of multiplayer title with no crossplay, let's take Tekken 7 for example, you know the difficulty and struggles of finding a match, especially in higher ranked brackets. Seeing as we have 3 main platforms, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, you are effectively locked into playing with 1/3 of the full player base, leading to what in modern multiplayer is hated by many, long wait times. Many people are fueled by dopamine. Many people want to just do a match and immediately jump back into a game. However, with long wait times, most will likely have to just give up and quit. Why would I queue for 10 minutes on some niche game when I can jump onto another title like COD or Tekken 8 or something and find a match almost instantly thanks to crossplay? It's not like this wasn't possible for them to do, seeing as UE5 has all the frameworks to allow for such things like crossplay, and most games releasing in 2025 and 2026 alone have got crossplay, right? Tekken 8 single-handedly fixed the issue of long queue times, wait times, by allowing you to play with console players. And it's not like crossplay is a very difficult thing to implement, especially for a company as intuitive and as diverse in staff as Konami. It was an extremely tone-deaf decision, and that would ultimately hurt and impact the player counts. To add insult to injury, their own FAQ for FOXHUNT also says that matchmaking only happens between users who selected the same matchmaking region. So not only is their player base already divided by platform, it is now fragmented by matchmaking region. It's like they wanted the mode to fail or something. Now I understand high pings, whatever, right? But it's not really helping their case here. Secondly, this wasn't really what fans wanted. FOXHUNT isn't really MGO 1, 2 or 3, and it's not MGO 4 either. Konami pitched it as a new experience, and whilst good on paper, it also meant that this had to establish itself as what's essentially a new IP or game mode. It's not really what a lot of fans would have wanted. I know I am one of many that would have wanted an MGO revival instead of this. There just was so much more stuff to do in MGO. There wasn't any like XP or any progression locked nonsense. You kind of just drop into MGO, do as you like, and you have fun with it, right? I wasn't super interested in this when this came out. Like, okay, it looked promising, but that was not the main piece of cake for me. That's one of the few reasons I feel FOXHUNT failed the core kind of fan base for this game. The game, on top of all of this, also lacked any real reasons to stay. A lot of multiplayer games are designed to target and skullfuck your dopamine receptors. They're intrinsically designed to target that part of the human brain that makes you want to come back for more XP, progression systems, battle passes, seasons. In almost every case, it's going to be a new update with a bunch of patch notes that don't really change anything, but give you just enough illusion to make you think that, wow, something new has changed, or something new has been added to the game, or the game's actively being worked on. Whereas in reality, it's maybe 1 or 2, 3 small little changes, right? But it at least adds some variety to the content and gives you reasons to return. I mean, I fell victim to this kind of game design myself many times, and I don't believe FOXHUNT really had any incentive for players to come back and play. Like, most people that picked this game up, played it on release, had like 5 or so matches of fun, and then just dropped it. And something I don't see mentioned very often is the lack of any real updates. I distinctively remember Konami saying something along the lines of, "We will be updating FOXHUNT," and all the game got was like 3 updates, most of which were just balance and bug fixes. There has been no new content added to the game, which would make someone go, wow! But at this point, with player count so low, I doubt there ever will be any sort of update. Now, the earlier Konami statement regarding the updates, I can't really give you a source for because I cannot find it, so I guess you just have to trust me, bro, on this one. But they never really patched or fixed Delta performance either, so there you have it. Still, the entire situation just gives this bonus mode vibes rather than a full-fledged multiplayer mode, which they sort of marketed this as, seeing as they had a whole trailer dedicated to it and stated it's not MGO but a new thing entirely. This one may be a slightly smaller issue seeing as the player base is so small, but this mostly also pertains to the PC version of the game. And this is kind of hearsay, so it's not officially confirmed, but likely spread through word of mouth. This game launched without any sort of anti-cheat of any kind, and you already know why this is a bad idea, especially on a platform as robust as PC. This means hackers could basically do whatever they wanted. And from what I could see, there have been community reports of speed hacking, flying, all sorts of goofy shit you'd see in GTA Online. Now, it wasn't in every match, but it was there, and just another bullet point to add onto the list of problems with this game. Now, let's get onto the main reason why the game died, and this is the post-hype launch. Konami, with a single decision, I don't know what it was, but they basically killed their own game. Delta released at the end of August 2025, right? FOXHUNT released on October 30th, 2025. Almost, well, over 2 whole months after release of the main game. By that point, anyone who wanted to play Delta already at full price would have, played it and 100%ed it. This was way past the hype window for the peak Steam player count of 20,000, if we factor that in. And if we actually use the player count as some sort of justifiable metric, the player count went from around 500 players on October 29th to 1,000 on October 30th, when the game would actually release. So it doubled, but these numbers were still very tiny. They basically missed the most crucial window. I mean, shit, by then, even I didn't have the game installed, I not only did Delta run like shit, it also took up almost 100 gig of my storage. Why would I keep the game around after I've beat it, right? And did everything I wanted to do in it. I'm just going to remove it to clear space, and I'm naturally imagining that's what a lot of people did after beating the game. I completed it twice, I uninstalled it and moved on. And this single mistake and delay in the launch is for what is a basically niche mode is basically what killed all hyper momentum for the title. Never mind the inability to play with crossplay on and the cheating and the region matchmaking. Had they actually released this on the same day as, you know, Delta, this mode might have actually still seen some players, but I feel it released so late and there wasn't just much incentive to go back into it. There was not a whole lot of content, not a whole lot of fixes and updates, and they kind of just shit the bed with it, to be honest. I get they probably had to release it later because it was still in development, but it feels like out of the 50 or so pounds that I paid for this game, this whole FOXHUNT thing feels like it's just inaccessible. I can't really even play it. It might as well be like shut down, right? So in conclusion, it seems to me like Konami actually wanted to release this and kind of see if there was a hunger for a multiplayer title. They were testing the waters, as people data mine unreleased content for the game that would likely be made available as free updates, but more like DLCs so players can be nickeled and dimed at every corner. They saw that it flopped due to their own misjudgment of the gaming market sphere and called it quits without releasing any additional content, maps or DLC, or channeling any of the untapped potential that comes with it. I don't feel they learned anything in the process, and thus FOXHUNT remains as a fun, albeit forgettable splinter in the franchise's history. It leads me to sort of wonder what could have been. I for one would have just preferred Metal Gear Online revival of some sort. We're sort of left with the chunk of the game that is mostly inaccessible just due to low player numbers, which sucks ass. So there you have it, all the key reasons I feel FOXHUNT failed, and it wasn't because it was bad or anything. The game itself was, from what I could see, overall, it was just okay. It wasn't anything revolutionary, but it mostly failed because it was just late to the party. You know, the boat has sailed away. No meaningful updates, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They basically delayed it so much, killed their own game. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and peace.